first of all, very important to have a time regime, yes, like regime of the day, where you can really plan that I wake up at this o'clock, I like have a walk with a dog, and after that, like I have breakfast, and after that I work. And very important, try to sleep more than 5 hours. I think during this day, really to stay productive. And like also understand that it's okay to have all these feelings. And I have sometimes when especially when we received all these photos from Kiev region, like from Bucha and others. So I simply like, I really was crying. And it's also okay to have all these feelings and have time for these feelings now. So I think it helps to stay productive.
How long does all of this take, and what's a typical check size for you?
It really depends on the company. Every company is kind of different. And given that I invest in a lot of different industries across the board, because I'm looking at my wall of startups actually from where I'm sitting, and I'm in fintech, I'm in education, I'm in different SaaS platforms, I'm in entertainment, food and beverage. Like every industry is different, but I would say it generally takes 6 to 8 weeks from a diligence perspective.
Wow.
And then funding, again, it just depends on the business and their needs, but it really depends on industry. And typically starting check sizes are no more than 250 to 500. But I have, written larger checks for different opportunities. And, as, a company grows, I do subsequent rounds as well. I have over 200,000 unread emails in my inbox, which is, I've already accepted there's just no way I'm getting to more than 99% of them. For people who are sending me pitches, I mean, ideally, maybe an executive summary in a deck would be helpful, and just something that summarizes what you're doing. Not a 3 or 4 page, wall of text that gets emailed. That's usually stuff that I just ignore, just I don't have time to read a 3 or 4 page email. And a lot of investor sites, they do have a place where you can drop off decks as well, my site included, where funnel a lot of the companies in. It's just easier to keep everything centralized.
If you don't have a monthly or quarterly newsletter, that not kind of like marketing everything is great, but rather this is what we're working on, this is the progress that we've made, and perhaps this is what we need help with, this is a question that we have, this is where we're struggling. If you send that out monthly, quarterly, I know a lot of founders who have built these relationships and gotten great investment from that.
Another point for founders to understand is being founders of other companies or being in the startup world, you realize don't wait until you're perfect to go out. Get out there, because the best way to learn and pivot and change and improve is to hear from true customers. You can talk to as many people as you want, but once you've got the site up and you're driving people to the site, they will share what they feel about your site, negative, positive. And then as startups, you say, okay, you listen to your customer and you give them what they need. If they say they want a wider breadth of closing, we'll give you that. And we'll try to give it to you as fast as we can.
Policies are like music to my ear. Just what is your standard operating procedures to do something, to do accounting, and also just to know what the compliance things, the regulatory bodies are for your product and for your service line. Started really digging in deep about what are those regulatory bodies and making sure that we had the systems in place that are needed for us to continue to be in compliance. Accounting has a compliance procedure, so we need to make sure we have a policy about it. And we also have HR, has compliance and, regulations. So we need to make sure that we have a policy on that. I'm not always going to be in this role, and I at least want to have some type of map for when we do scale, to have a roadmap on how we like to do things internally. I really have to give credence to like my mother and my grandmother. My mom has this thing, she's fantastic, oh my gosh. So she has this thing since I was growing up, it's called "And I Love Me" wall. Any accomplishments that I've done along the way, I started building an "I Love Me" wall. And so when I get down, I'm like, oh, I can't do this, this is overwhelming. I just think of all the things that I've already done. And I'm like, you know what? I can add value. I can be in the room. I'm supposed to be here. All of my experiences have brought me exactly where I'm supposed to be. And then I just get up, you know, the next day and I try to do it again. So, and my grandmother, she's like, you know, we don't have the luxury to have a pity party. You know, having a pity party is for people who have the luxury to do so. You do not. Get up.
One other thing I want to say to everyone is that your first one does not need to be a rocket ship getting to the moon. It can be the fuel to getting to your next one, or maybe even the one after that. For me, that was certainly the case. From going from a wearable technology to an influencer marketing business to now to actually really focusing on helping entrepreneurs and executives optimize their brain for peak mental performance.